Ethula uhlahlomali lwaphakathi nonyaka uGodongwana uqale inkulumo yakhe ngokuthi iNingizimu Afrika isolwe ngephutha mayelana nokuthi kunokubulawa kwabantu abamhlophe kuleli. Wabonga labo abashaya indiva lezinsolo.
It is against this fractured landscape that South Africa has been falsely accused of genocide against its white community and threatened with punitive sanctions based on falsehood. Let me thank the many communities here at home and around the world that have rejected the false narrative and the fear, hate, and disinformation they represent, and instead chosen to defend the principles of solidarity and equality.
UNgqongqoshe uthi iNingizimu Afrika isendaweni kahle ngalokho ezibophezele ngakho ngezinhlelo zokukhuliswa komnotho. Uthi Umnotho Wakuleli Kulindeleke ukhule ngokuphindwe kabili kulonyaka uma kuqhathaniswa nonyaka owedlule. UGodongwana ukhulume nangokuthengiswa kwezimpahla ezingekho emthethweni nathi lokhu kubeka engcupheni ezohwebo nomnotho wakuleli.
The growing market for illicit cigarettes and alcohol poses serious risk to public health and undermine legitimate business. Each year, billions of rands in taxes go uncollected, funds that could have closed our revenue gap and avoided tax increases entirely. According to SARS, since 2020, government has lost around 40 billion in excise revenues to the cigarette black market.
UGodongwana uthi iNingizimu Afrika ikulungele ukusingatha ingqungquthela ye-G20.
We also promise to use our presidency of the first African G20 to firmly place Africa on the global agenda. As we approach the final stretch of our presidency, we have successfully concluded meetings of the G20 finance ministers and central bank governors, brokering critical consensus for the continent's development.
Ihlukene imbono yamaqembu ombusazwe ngalesi sabelo mali esibheka kakhulu amandla emali ukwehlisa izindleko zokuphila ezimbeqolo.
Targeting inflation downwards and sticking to that will also lead to the interest rates coming down. So a very good combination which will address the cost of living, which is a very key priority of the government of national unity.
There is actually not an explicit mention of things that are key in our country, like I've mentioned, the issue of inequality, the job opportunities. It tells you that they do not care about what is happening.
We reject this new inflation targeting because we think that it's going to increase the cost of borrowing. And we know at the center of borrowing is the masses of our people. There's a repetition of what he said at the beginning of the year. There's no clear plan on how we're going to deal with unemployment, how are we going to deal with policing in South Africa, because we've got a serious problem of resources in the police, and how are we going to deal with issues of defense itself.
My deepest concern about this budget is that the issues around crime, safety, are fundamental to South African citizens, and there doesn't seem to be major adjustments towards policing. Whilst expenditure has been curbed downwards thanks to the inflation target, I would argue that we've got to do more to cut expenditure, or otherwise next year we're going to be looking at additional taxes.